Well, we've got a lot of traffic problems this morning. For people who are just waking up, the Mercier Bridge has been blocked off by the Kahnawake warriors. You cannot get anywhere near it.
I was on the bridge all summer. That's my second home. The Mercier Bridge is a major artery to get traffic in and on the island of Montreal.
People had to go around. It took them, take 4 hours to get to Montreal.
And the whole reason we did that was to protect Kanesatake.
So everyone is angry and fed up with this bullshit that's going on.
The only thing that negotiations really focused on were the barricades at the Mercier Bridge.
We did clamp scrap metal on the side of the bridge and brought a torch up and start blowing sparks off. And all over the press, the Mohawks are cutting the bridge down.
Essentially, that was the only thing that negotiations were about. They weren't about people leaving here peacefully. They weren't about no criminal charges. It wasn't about anything. It wasn't even about land.
Today is a breakthrough. Today we've agreed on preconditions.
Originally, we had a tentative agreement with Ellen Gabriel, which would have respected the Native people lands and would have put an end to the quarrel.
And John Chacha tried his best, but at that time and throughout the summer, nobody was controlling the SQ.
They were quite upset that they had tried to go into the community of Kanesatake, and even more upset at the fact that one of their own got killed.
As soon as we went over the mountain, the SQ were there in an unmarked car.
One police officer who had an automatic weapon pointed about a foot from my head.
That was everyday life for most people. Anytime they would try to cross to go buy food or anything, they were treated poorly at all the checkpoints.
And he was shaking. He was shaking like this, and I got angry.
Make them undress in public to check them. Put greasy hands that they've dug in their car and putting it on somebody's clean white shirt.
I basically called him a few choice words, like a hole, and I said, put that gun down, let's go on shore, we'll see how tough you are,
And they said, Mrs. Etienne, you are under arrest. And I said, well, what am I under arrest for? They said, for intimidation, because you're behind the barricades. I said, I live here.
The SQ didn't want a settlement because they wanted to force their way to tell the natives, this is what you have to do.
You could see the hatred and the anger of the police.
So how can you have a peaceful disengagement when the SQ are a law unto themselves?
On the other side, the radicals were expecting to negotiate terms and conditions which would have taken their lands out of the provincial jurisdiction and would have become an independent nation.
It was a farce. It wasn't a good situation, good circumstances, and we walked away from the table looking at it and saying, these people want a war. That's what they want.
It was awful. It was awful. And I felt sorry for the Sûreté du Québec. So they were in an untenable situation, complete conflict in both ends.
We actually had a TV up on the bridge, and we were watching all the newscasts. We saw everything, and we saw what was going on. Of course, we were upset when they were burning effigies of Mohawks.
Premier Barraza didn't think that the SQ was equipped to deal with the situation. So he called Ottawa, and he called in the army.
And it sort of came out to us that the government brought the army in because they couldn't solve it. So if the army solved it, great. If the army screwed up, then we had somebody to blame.
Kahnawake were pretty much prepared for any incursion.
We did know that there were some weapons up on the bridge that were dangerous. One was a .50 caliber sniper rifle, and we were concerned about that because we didn't have anything to protect ourselves from that type of fire. Even our APCs, our armored personnel carriers, that breeze through that just like butter.
Our men have worked high steel since there's been high steel. So that gives us basic knowledge of bridges and structure.
Knowing what it takes to blow a bridge up, we sort of realized that it was more, words. If you say you're going to do it, it's just like you're doing it. So it causes the same amount of fear amongst the people.
The outside knows that yes, it was wired to go at one time.
From a military standpoint, we knew exactly what it would take to put a bridge like that down, and there'd be truckloads of explosives.
Kahnawake has per capita for any community anywhere in the U.S. We have more military U.S. servicemen per capita here in this community. So training and knowledge is very diverse.
We had to avoid another death. We could not have lived down the idea that Native people were massacred or killed.
I was on the line. I didn't want to die, but if I had to, I had to protect those people.
The fear the soldiers had of having to use deadly force against Canadians, to them, I've spoken to guys who are really roughed up over the fact that, it could have come to that there.
We did what we had to do. The only thing I had to worry about is, am I getting shot today?
That gun now, we'll go for it. I'll kick the piss out of you, boy.